You know those people who seem to see and feel, well, everything? Today, we're diving deep into the psychology of people who are hyper-aware, and we're going to explore how they can keep from being completely swallowed by their own powerful minds.
So let me ask you, does this sound familiar? That feeling that you're constantly picking up on all these hidden layers of meaning, things that other people just seem to walk right past without ever even noticing?
And right there, that's the core of it. This sharp awareness. It's a real double-edged sword. Sure, it offers incredible insight, but it comes at a huge cost. It often leads to this profound emotional exhaustion that's just so hard to explain to anyone else. What you might be experiencing is a well-known psychological trap. You see, the problem for these people is that their brain just doesn't have an off switch. They can't just enjoy a moment for what it is. Their mind takes it home, it picks it apart, and replays it over and over and over again. It's almost like a sixth sense, right? An instantaneous scan of the room. Nobody's raising their voice, there's no obvious drama, but their brain has already processed an avoided glance, a forced smile, or a sentence that just sounds off. One tiny silence can become an entire universe of thought. So the big question is, where does this intense level of awareness even come from? It's not random. Psychology actually points to two very distinct paths that can forge this unique way of seeing the world. Okay, so for the first group, it's just something they're born with. They're often called highly sensitive persons, or HSPs. Their nervous systems are just wired differently from birth, processing the world in extremely high resolution. But for the second group, it's not something they were born with. It's an inheritance. It's a survival trait called hypervigilance. To understand hypervigilance, just imagine a kid growing up where the adult modes are completely unpredictable. That child can't really afford to be carefree. They have to become a radar station, learning to predict an emotional storm from the sound of car tires in the driveway or the way a cabinet slams shut. Their brain's danger alarm, the amygdala, is basically firing all the time, wiring them for survival. So if this is resonating with you, I really want you to hear this. You are not broken. Your tendency to overanalyze everything isn't some kind of flaw. You're simply carrying a very sophisticated intelligence that was forged for your own protection. It's like a shield that over time has basically fused right into your skin. All right, so how does this massive awareness actually show up in daily life? Let's break down 5 really clear signs of this emotional burden. The first sign, and honestly the one that drains the most energy, is a mind that is always in analysis mode. You see, for an overaware person, a simple conversation is, well, it's never just a conversation. Their mind is constantly running this hidden equation in the background. Even a brief, neutral message from a boss can trigger a massive wave of tension as they analyze every single word for some kind of invisible coldness. Second, that analytical camera doesn't just point outward. It turns right back inward, creating this hyper self-awareness. It's kind of like trying to dance while you're constantly staring at your own reflection in a mirror, trying to fix your posture. Yeah, you might not miss a step, but you completely lose the flow, the natural presence of just being in the moment. The third sign is a tough one. It's a loss of innocence in relationships. Over time, this intense awareness leads you to see the backstage of human behavior. You start to see that kindness can come with strings attached, or that affection can feel like a calculated move. And slowly, that ability to just trust words at face value starts to erode, creating this quiet, deep sense of loneliness. Number 4, their empathy is just always switched on. For these people, it isn't really a choice, it's more like a default state. They don't just understand another person's pain, they absorb it. They end up becoming the emotional regulator for everyone around them, a container for other people's stress, which, as you can imagine, leaves them utterly exhausted. And the fifth and final sign is how this awareness gets tangled up with the body. Unprocessed emotions often show up physically, and people who are hyper-aware can sense every subtle little shift in their internal state. This can create a really brutal cycle of anxiety. And this creates a vicious feedback loop. It'll start with a totally normal sensation, maybe a faster heartbeat from a cup of coffee. But that hyper-aware brain can misinterpret it as a threat, screaming, panic attack. The body then responds with stress hormones, which only makes the physical sensations stronger. The body basically becomes a constant stream of emergency data. So here's the crucial point. The solution isn't to become less aware. You can't just ask someone with perfect vision to see things as blurry. The real solution is to learn how to stop carrying everything you see. The first principle that can set you free is to stop personalizing everything. If someone replies slowly to a text, maybe they're just exhausted. If a coworker walks past you without smiling, maybe they have a headache. It's not always about you. Second, you can actually learn to just observe your feelings without judging them. So when anxiety shows up, instead of immediately trying to analyze it and fix it, you can just notice it. Ah, there's that feeling. My heart is beating a little fast. Just by naming it as a physical sensation, you create a tiny bit of space between you and the feeling, which allows it to eventually pass on its own. And third, you start to realize that clarity is only really a gift when it comes with boundaries. You might see someone's insecurity as clear as day, but that doesn't mean you're obligated to become their therapist. Sometimes the wisest thing you can do is to see clearly and then simply step back. Now, when people start to practice this kind of letting go, something pretty remarkable happens. Their awareness doesn't just disappear. It softens, it matures. They move from using their awareness to try and predict the future to using it to just be present in the now. And that is the goal. The shift is completely internal. That awareness transforms from this sharp analytical laser that exposes every single flaw into a warm, gentle candle, bright enough to understand human fragility, but gentle enough to warm themselves too. And this is really the ultimate takeaway. Your life becomes lighter, not because the world suddenly gets any less complicated. It becomes lighter because you finally stop trying to carry every single one of its equations on your own shoulders. So let's just end with this thought. If any of this felt familiar to you today, please remember this. The depth that you carry is not a flaw. It's a gift. It's a gift that is simply waiting for your own understanding and your own compassion.